Today's show is sponsored by Vasion Print. Technology should drive your business, not slow it down. But legacy print systems are a resource suck. Don't waste time and money managing print when there's a solution. Vasion Print, formerly known as Printer Logic. Eliminate resource-intensive print servers and make the switch to an intuitive, cloud-native solution that makes printing effortless for IT teams and end users. Reduce attack surfaces and secure your environment while enjoying cloud-native flexibility that's easily supported in a hybrid workforce. It's not a patch or a fix. It's a truly seamless solution for print. See for yourself by scheduling a demo at vasion.com. That's VASION.com. Today's show is sponsored by Do It. Cloud spend is just the surface. What really matters is how it drives performance, reliability, and speed to market. Do It Cloud Intelligence aligns every dollar to the intent of the workloads. Do It is trusted by companies like Fiverr, HackerRank, Current, and Superbet. Do It helps teams go beyond dashboards, surfacing hidden inefficiencies, resolving incidents faster, and aligning cloud operations with business priorities. One platform, unified signals, better outcomes across engineering and finance. Visit doit.com, that's DOIT.com, to unlock intent-aware FinOps at scale. Do It Cloud Intelligence.
Cloudcast Media presents from the massive studios in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is the Cloudcast with Aaron Delp and Brian Gracely, bringing you the best of cloud computing from around the world.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to the Cloudcast. We're coming to you live from our massive Cloudcast studios here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And it is just Aaron this week, but we have a great topic and great guests for y'all. We're going to be talking a little bit about AI enterprise platforms and kind of dabble into AI security a bit as well. And for that, we have Shay Levi, co-founder and CEO at Unframe, and Larissa Schneider, co-founder and COO at Unframe as well. And so Shay and Larissa, welcome to the show, and give everyone a brief introduction, please, and a little bit about your background.
Hey, great to be here. I'll go first, and then I'll pass it on to Larissa. So I'm Shay. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Unframe. Heavily focused on AI. We're going to talk all about that in a bit. But before that, I was the co-founder and CTO of a company called No Name Security, which was leading the API security market in the cybersecurity space for about 4 years until our acquisition by Akamai for $500 million. Grew that company all the way from 0 to about 250 people. Was very successful and happy ride. Before that, I had another company profitable from day one with no investors. Before that, I worked for Facebook, and I started my professional career in the intelligence unit in the IDF, where I served 4 years in various cybersecurity roles, software engineering roles. So basically, been doing cybersecurity, software engineering, and AI for over a decade now.
Fantastic.
Hi, Aaron. Thanks for having us. I'm Larissa. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Unframe. Shay and I and our third co-founder, Adi, we met during my time at No Name. I've always had a background kind of on the go-to-market, marketing partnership side of things. Before that, spent 6 years or so at Nutanix, so more on like the cloud management infrastructure side of business. Quick stint in cyber and now really excited about AI and what we're doing here.
Fantastic. Yeah. And yeah, full disclosure, Larissa and I spent some time together at Nutanix and we had definitely some fun rides and some interesting experiences there for sure. Exactly. Stories we could tell over beers. So let's kind of jump right in. So like, as I mentioned, today we're talking about a little bit of AI security and a little bit about enterprise platforms as well. And so let's kind of start there with what are the problems or issues that you're really seeing with AI development today? Because we talk about it a lot on this show of like, hey, this Gen AI thing, it comes along. And then just like anything else, you're kind of, even though AI is very mature, AI development and especially around LLMs is a little bit nascent, right? And it's kind of early days and it has its growing pains just like anything else.
Larissa, want to go first?
Absolutely. So I think what we're often seeing is a lot of enterprises are, and we're heavily focused on working with enterprises. We see that they're trying a lot of things. They have a lot of ideas, but they're often really trying to reinvent the wheel in many aspects, like trying a few projects, building something internally, spending month at end organizing data, mapping data, transferring data, and doing experiments on training their own model and so on. So often they don't really actually get to show the value, or if they do, it takes them a month at end, just getting something out, ridiculously expensive. And we really felt that there needs to be something that's much faster, but still gives them like a really good business value that they can see very, very quickly. And I think that's the problem that we jumped on and started working towards.
Yeah. If we zoom out a bit about it a bit, so I think AI came into the world and everybody started thinking like, where the future can take us, and they started talking about AI replacing humans and like it's something very much in the thinking of everyone, but in the practicality, when you try to build something with it that is actually useful, that still requires, thinking about the problem you're trying to solve. That still requires a certain dedication from the development team around that problem. I see a lot of companies that their business is around finance, or their business is around cars, mobility, real estate, whatever it might be. And suddenly they have internal teams trying to create, AI systems for ticket management or AI system for sales management. And this makes no sense. It's not their core business. It's true that AI makes developers more efficient, but do you really want your developers to spend their time building an IT management system? That's not your business. And you don't do it. Like, you have ServiceNow and you have Jira. You never thought about doing that in the past. Why would you suddenly try to build everything in-house? And I think and I think a lot of companies are realizing that approach of we'll build everything internally and we'll have like our own team build a bunch of AI use cases actually doesn't prove itself, because it's very easy to build something that is like 50% right, but no one wants to use something that is 50% right. Like, no one. There's 0% adoption to those. And so they invest a lot of time in AI, but they don't really make a bang with it. And then it's really frustrating to a lot of enterprises. And on the flip side, though, they always know that the enterprises that will adopt AI and will have the right strategy or will be able to, harness the AI power will significantly beat their competitors, right? You always know that as an enterprise. And so this is what they fear about. And to us, obviously, this is why Unframe came to light. Enterprises that choose to work with us do enjoy that benefit because, you're not devoting your own R&D team that is focused on your main business to solve problems or areas where you can harness AI to make your org better, to make your enterprise better, to make your products better. I really think that companies that work with Unframe have a competitive advantage, honestly. Like, that's how I view it.
I like that. And kind of a follow-up to that, it reminds me of the early days of cloud, if you will, in a couple different ways. You have these silos, right, of everyone wants to play and everyone wants to kind of go do this project. And so you have this fragmentation of somebody's doing something over here and somebody's doing something over there. And you don't have this efficiency of consolidating all of those workflows into something centrally. And then you have this idea too of like, like the shadow IT days, right? Well, now you almost have like shadow AI days, right? And so
right.
In my mind, this is where this like AI platform, the term, kind of starts to come into play and starts to make sense. And I'm seeing this more and more here recently. But I'm wondering too, because it is so early on in this, what does it mean to be a platform? Like, what is your definition of a platform, and what does it look like, and what are the advantages of a platform?
I think that's a good question, and I think it's important to make a distinction here, right? Because the word platform is heavily used in tech in general. You can be a single product and you call yourself a platform. You can be something that is made for developers and you call yourself a platform. You can be something that is hosting a lot of different applications, not necessarily for build, and you would call yourself a platform. And so almost everything is a platform, so it's hard to define. So I don't blame you for saying that it's kind of hard to put your finger on it. I think there's few angles to AI platform. Some approach developers. They say, let's make developers make it easier for them to build, so the internal developers inside the org can, code in a better way, in a more centralized way, in a more governed way, things of that nature. There's this approach of a platform. On the flip side, there is very point solutions that are calling themselves a platform. They're not necessarily, they are only in a single ecosystem. They're a product for one use case, but for the benefit of it, for the benefit of the name, of sounding bigger, being able to get a larger ticket size, they call themselves a platform. So this is the confusing part. The third angle, which is what Unframe is really focused on, is somewhat of a delivery platform. We call Unframe like a managed AI delivery platform. The idea is that you get the benefits of all the different solutions that you need, aggregated, easily governed, managed long-term, but you don't need your developers to create every single AI use case. That is the approach of Unframe. We are the ones that are creating the different solutions that you have available on this one platform. We are using the same building blocks and the same reusable components to assemble these solutions for the various use cases that you have. But we are the ones maintaining it. We are the ones making sure that you adopt it, that you enjoy it long-term, that you get more features, things of that nature. So this is our approach. It's like AI delivery platform, not just like something for developers to code on. Larissa, if you want to add something that I forgot, feel free.
No, I think it's hit it perfectly. And as you say, in the so fastly evolving markets, there's a new platform popping up all the time. And I think they all have different reasons for being. We just see that most of the time and on the enterprise level, the requirements are very different than some of the more B2C and developer-focused platforms. And that's why I think ours is somewhat different than a lot of the AI platforms that you see right now popping up.
I like that. Thank you. And Shay, let me kind of ask you specifically, going back to kind of no-name and API security days, right? Like, considering your background in APIs and API security, how does that knowledge transfer forward into AIs? Because obviously you're seeing, lots of AIs being API driven, and you're kind of seeing like OpenAI is oftentimes becoming the API, AI API standard, right? You're seeing everything being advertised as like OpenAI compatible, and like, tell everyone, when it comes to APIs for AI and security, like, what do you think and how do you think about this space?
Right. So I split it into two. There's the security aspect and there's the API aspect. I think in security, with security goggles on, before this AI revolution, for a very long period of time, there was not something very like important to chase, some great innovation to chase. And so I think security, a lot of organizations started focusing very heavily on security. Let's secure what we currently have. Let's make sure we don't break what we currently have. Everything was around that. Now, AI is different because this is a revolution that can make or break your company as an enterprise, as a large organization. You no longer have the luxury of just saying, let's stay secure and make sure what we have is working. This will not work because your competitors will adopt AI. So trying to hold back on this innovation can really break your company. And I think most enterprises understand that. So they rush to adopt AI. So from a security lens, you have to kind of secure on their go as they go. You can't tell them to stop, because if you tell them to stop, you risk the business. So you have a lot of challenges of, okay, how do I keep them secure, but I don't hold them back from adopting? I heard initially of organizations saying, we don't allow anyone in the org to do ChatGPT or to do, those. To me, this is a very bad idea, because the competitors that might be more lenient are actually allowing this. So you might be more, governed, secure, whatever. But if you have no business left at the end of the day, then you harmed it in a different angle. So to me, the security goggles that you need to have today is let organizations adopt AI from the security perspective, but let's keep them safe wherever we can. So let's think of how we govern them in a reasonable way, not by holding them back, letting them flourish. And this all has to happen very fast. And so I think our advantage in Unframe, coming from security background, I know how the good needs to look like. I already know what good needs to look like. So when we created the AI delivery platform, when we created OnFrame, when we create solutions, I already make sure that what we deliver out there is the good standard. Because I know even if I do something medium standard, probably organizations would still adopt it. But, I don't want to be in that position because I know they rush to adopt AI. So I think this is the security angle. On the API angle, I think organizations started to really understand it when MCP came out. If you think what MCP is, basically it's API calls, right? There isn't much there. Like it's a protocol for performing those API calls, but those are API calls. And immediately my mind started going on how do you secure those MCP calls? How do you make sure you don't, there's no malicious actions going on? And I'm sure there will be the existing DLPs or AI security companies that are dedicated for LLMs are going to do some work around that. But to me, the angle that is most interesting and the most that I like to see the most is that finally, I feel like there's a revolution that you cannot just say, "Oh, it's unsafe. Let's wait." No enterprise is gonna wait, and so it's fun to see finally some fire going on in the security orgs where they're like, "Okay, let's go. Like the org needs to adopt AI. Let's figure out what's the best way to do it." And I think it's fun. That's how I see it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And given the typical organizations and enterprises, the security posture is like, oh, we want to change as little as possible because change almost represents risk. I mean, that makes perfect sense of like, hey, we finally have this moment to propel the security industry forward a little bit, right? And so, Larissa, I kind of want to flip that around and go, okay, with your kind of background in operations and talking to enterprises, where do you see like these AI efficiencies that Shay was talking about earlier, right? Like in my mind, there's this AI development lifecycle and there's lifecycle management and you've got AI models and you've got AI data sets and you have to match everything up. But how does the enterprise and enterprise AI, how do they think about what is good operations look like?
Yeah, so at OnFrame in general, what we do is we always start from the use case. That's what we focus on. We really want to make sure that the solution that we're bringing to the customer is the most tailored, most suitable exactly for what they're trying to achieve, because we believe that's what you can currently get most accurate responses with, and that's what will get you the best ROI at this stage. So we always start there, and in most cases, what we've really noticed over the last year or so is that pressure from the top down. So the boards in every board meeting around the world in the last year has been asking the C-level leadership, what is our AI strategy? What are we doing here? And they really have figured out this adopt AI or fall behind, comparing them to competitors. And I would say most of the time where we're seeing the impact, like we really try to start with that highest business impact type of solution first. They're either trying to replace a lot of the human, very labor intensive workflows, in return increase efficiencies, of course, reduce the human error side of things. But also often we see use cases around there being efficiencies that they're trying to make, sometimes either replacing people or just getting a lot more mileage out of the teams and resources they have in-house. So I would say those are probably the use cases that have highest impact right now. But if you're talking about operational efficiencies, as a whole, as OnFrame, I think that's a very important point for us from a platform perspective as well, because we're really, I think, building our whole team, our whole company, our whole product on top of a very operationally efficient mindset as well, because every single building block that makes up our platform is something that we came up with together with real customer projects, and we've been building them in the most generic way possible so that we can reuse them hundreds of times over and make them very relevant for every customer environment. So we try to really take this moment of having built a company at the height of kind of the AI buzz, if you will, this really the turning moment, and try to make everything internally as well as externally with customers the most efficient possible, I would say.
Fantastic. So let's go ahead and because we've been talking about OnFrame, but we haven't really dug into the details of the platform, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. So give everyone an overview. Is this a SaaS service, or where does it kind of fit in an AI development stack? Because I think we're at a place in the industry where the tools, like everyone's kind of using a bunch of things cobbled together, and they're, again, going back to kind of inefficiencies and fragmentation. So give everyone an idea of like, what does this look like, maybe before and after?
Larissa, me, you?
You.
All right.
Well, this is the second we're going to cut out.
So Unframe is a managed AI delivery platform. The problem we identified in the market is that while adopting it, like AI should be a superpower, but instead it's a struggle. Generic tools don't really work or don't fit your use case, and something that has 70% accuracy has 0% adoption. In-house development takes very long and requires expensive talent. Point solutions don't scale, as you have a lot of use cases and a lot of things you want to cover. And traditional consulting is slow and costly. And so what if you could just say what you need and get it? As simple as that. And this is basically what the Unframe Managed AI Delivery Platform is all about. It's a new way to get AI native enterprise solutions. You describe your use case in the old-fashioned way of sitting and talking about it with us for about 15 minutes. What are the relevant integrations? And we can integrate into everything. What are the AI capabilities that you expect? What do you want AI to do for you? And that's about it, and like how a good result looks like. We meet again 3 days later, and you already have a production-ready, enterprise-grade solution ready for you to try. The actual solution that you asked for, that you described. You usually try it initially on dummy data, and if you're impressed, you can go ahead and integrate it with the same integrations that you said are relevant, and actually go ahead and use it. And Unframe operates in a complete risk-free model in the sense that we only move to licensing if you're happy with the outcome. If you say, yes, I get the business value, only then we move to licensing, and we charge per solution per year. And the reason this is a platform is because you can do it on many different use cases. You initially start with one use case with us, and then you say, oh, I have another, I have another, I have another. The reason we are able to do it, turn around that quickly, being able to launch so many different solutions for, on your environment, which is basically your AI platform, is the way it operates. So what we have behind the magic is hundreds and hundreds of deep technical building blocks that make up our platform that can be tailored or moldable for the specific use case that you need. We do the tailoring or the configuration of those building blocks with a layer we call a blueprint. You can think of a blueprint like a small little spec file that someone just, assembles together. It takes about 2 days to do it, which is what we do once we talk about your use case. That configures the different building blocks for your use case and gives you a turnkey solution ready for you to use. And those building blocks, because they're of high quality, because they have seen a lot of different use cases being built on them, because they keep evolving over time, because this is what makes up our platform, the solutions you get are of high quality, are tailored specifically for your use case. They're not generic. They solve your problem. People can just log in and use them. No one needs to sit and code or configure or do complicated stuff. And this is why I said that enterprises that work with Unframe really get to harness the power of AI. That you talk to us about a use case today or 3 use cases today, and 2 weeks later you have them in production. It makes a huge impact. I'm telling you, the ROI that companies see from working with us is incredible. And Larissa, maybe you want to add something on it.
Yeah, please. If I tie that back to how we started this conversation and kind of getting enterprise value quickly, the way that they work with us, you don't have to be a developer, you don't have to be an analyst, you can be the person that is working on your legal team, managing a lot of contracts. You can be the financial analyst working on your income statements, and you have a problem that you think AI could help you with, and modern AI native software, you could just work with Unframe and get your solution pretty quickly. You don't have to wait for an internal developer to become available to solve your problems. And you also don't have to find hundreds of thousands of dollars upfront to invest in custom software through a consultancy agreement, right? So really, you get to see what would the solution look like. You can try Unframe, and only after that, we'll have the proper budget discussion. And that's for us the best way we found how to show impact, show value of what AI can do for a business on an enterprise level.
And I think really it is enterprise grade. Like, the security's perspective, it's all enterprise grade. The auditability, the security settings, everything in it. We support deploying on the customer environment. This is a cloud podcast. They can deploy it on their own private cloud. They don't necessarily have to use it as a SaaS. So everything stays secure in their environment. So it really enables them to, another barrier that would have been in a different route is lifted when you use Unframe.
Love it. Love it. Fantastic. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you both. Larissa, if listeners want to get started and kind of learn more, what's the best way they can get started?
Absolutely. Reach out to either one of us, Larissa at unframe.ai, website unframe.ai. Would love to have a conversation, learn more about your use cases. Happy to put together a demo environment for you and your specific needs. And let's get talking.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both for your time this week. Really appreciate it. And everyone out there, thank you very much for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, please tell a friend, or wherever you get your podcast, if you can leave a review, please leave a review as well. And as always, we're looking for guest ideas and feedback. show@thecloudcast.net. Thank you everyone for your time, and we will talk to everyone next week.
Thank you for listening to the Cloudcast. Please visit thecloudcast.net to find more shows, show notes, videos, and everything social media.